I'm posting here because my wife does not use or even really know what Reddit is, and I can't speak to anybody else but my therapist about it. I've tried asking friends and family, but none of them understand the gravity of what I'm saying, honestly. I'm a 37-year-old man, and my lovely wife, 36, and I have little to no problems with each other. However, upon noticing little things that are mounting up to a rather terrifying level, I'm not sure I can ignore this anymore. She's a great person. She's done so much for me this whole marriage, and respects that I do not want to have sex after a rather traumatizing experience that I don't need to get into. She does little things that shows she listens and cares about me, and I do the same for her. I want to stay with her because we've been married for 10 years now, and she is all I know. But lately, I just don't know what's going on and why she's acting the way that she is. The first notable time was when we found an egg on the curb. We assumed it was from our neighbor, given that they have chickens and maybe an egg roll out or something. Without a second thought, my wife stomped on the egg. Now, I would have been fine had it been an infertile egg or a cooking egg without anything, but the entire fetus was seen, and I threw up. She laughed, saying that it was funny, and at least the neighbors don't have to worry about another chicken. I told myself that it was just an egg, and she had no idea that there would be a fetus in it, but her reaction afterwards rattled me. I brushed it off because, like I said, I love her. Maybe that is stupid, but I do. I really love her. But the things continued, and my love for her is wavering. Some notable things I remember were stated below. We have a dog, we'll call him Butter. Butter is the most calm dog in the world, and housebroken and well-trained. However, one time, he was very sick and irritated, and he went number 2 on the carpet. My wife screamed at Butter. Screamed. I told her to stop because the damage was done already, and Butter is a dog who is sick. I cleaned the carpet, and she never blew up at Butter again, but it rubbed me the wrong way how mean she was to him. I understand that she was frustrated, but Butter started crying and trying to give her paw, and she kept screaming at him. My mom passed in 2020, natural causes, but I was very close with her and it took many years to accept it. I keep her favorite bracelet on a table with family photos of her and me. One day it was missing and I had a panic attack. The bracelet was made by my mom's grandfather, and she wore it every day. It was a part of her. But when I told my wife, she told me that she sold it. I sobbed. I wasn't mad at her, just devastated. But soon after, the bracelet was back on the table, and I asked her about that. She started laughing and saying that you should have seen your face. When we were gardening, I noticed I dropped my keys. She was grouchy since it was hot, and she was planting flowers since the morning. When she found them, she threw them at my face and it cut my nose. She felt horrible, but that reaction threw me off. One time after work on Halloween, I was feeling particularly depressed for no reason. I don't blame her for this, but she played a prank on me and jump scared me, something we do every Halloween. I started crying and having a breakdown because it was kind of the last straw for me after my shift. She laughed and kept laughing, then went back to the living room and watched TV. One time on Facebook, we found out that a classmate had been in a car accident. I told her, and she shrugged, saying that she didn't really know her, so it doesn't matter. It's okay for her to not care about the victim, but the poor girl was heavily injured, and my memories of her from school were pleasant, and she genuinely didn't deserve what happened. My wife and I love horror. We are horror fans. But I cannot stand violence against animals. It disturbs me. So, when we put on When Evil Lurks, as you can imagine, I threw up. The kicker is that she has seen it but wanted to watch it with me since she loves it so much. I'm happy she loves it. But I would have appreciated a warning, which I vocalized. She shrugged it off and that was that. That's a few, but the worst of it happened just yesterday. I tried my hardest to not say anything, but it might be my last straw. I was cleaning up our room and my wife was at work, and I found a journal buried underneath the mattress as I was swapping sheets. For some reason, I opened it and realized quickly that it was my wife's diary. I would have put it back if I didn't see the words on the page. I was horrified. She wrote that when she was driving, there was a line of geese crossing the street. Annoying, yes, but the thing you're supposed to do is wait. My wife wrote that geese are a useless species, so it shouldn't matter if a few get run over. Yes, she just ran over 2 geese on the road. Again, I was horrified. I know what people will say, so I'm going to answer a few questions. I love her. I recognize that sometimes her behavior is unacceptable and concerning. I recognize the concern, which is why I am here in the first place. But you all have to realize that for the past 16 years now, she's been my world. We dated for 6 years before getting married, and it's been 10 years since our wedding. In those 16 years, I've witnessed her go through horrific things, and she's witnessed the same. It's hard to sum up those 16 years, but it's difficult, and I'm already saying too much. I noticed the change over the past 3 or so years. Even then, in the moment, I didn't see it as an issue until reading that little journal entry. I can't just leave her, but I can't act the same around her after finding that out. I realized that I need to confront her about what I saw, but truthfully, I am afraid. I never knew it was something she was capable of until I read it and started putting the pieces together. Whatever is going on, I don't know what to do with it. She has a therapist, and so do I. She seems genuine, but I don't know what to do, knowing that she willingly killed an animal without any remorse. Honestly, I just don't want to leave her. I met her young, and all I know is her. She's seen me through the most vulnerable parts of my life, and vice versa. Her family and my family are basically intertwined. We all love each other. She's basically been there longer than when she hasn't. If I have to leave her, I think that will be it for me. That'll be all I have. I'm 37, which isn't old, but also not desirable either. I don't even know why she had a crush on me, because I personally don't think I'm desirable. I don't even know if this post will make sense. I don't know if anyone will take the time out of their day to read my struggles. My therapist is on vacation, so I can't tell her yet. I need somebody to talk to, because everybody that I'm telling brushes it off since she is a very sweet person to them. I just want to fix this. Edit. Answering some questions. I said she's witnessed horrific things. I mean that a family member of hers has passed, and one of our mutual friends passed as well. But this didn't happen until months later. We have no kids. I had a rough experience I won't delve into that made me realize I am asexual, and I will ask her soon. Comments keeping her keys XVX. I will be super honest with you. I was married for 9 long years to someone just like your wife. The last straw, one of my cats being beaten to the point of her face being so swollen that one eye was shut for a week, and she didn't get out of her hiding spot for 3 days. Urine and feces in the corner of a closet. I guess she couldn't bring herself to make a run for the litter box in case she would encounter him. I was out the door in a week. It took everything from me, but I knew this would escalate. Don't wait too long, OP. This sounds like a psychopath covert narcissism. Be safe, take care, and please, confide in family members or friends you trust. Let people know what's going on. Edit put a French word by mistake for covert. We say perverse narcissique for covert narcissism. Greek mom 2005. My mom passed in 2020. Natural causes. But I was very close with her, and it took many years to accept it. I keep her favorite bracelet on a table with family photos of her and me. One day it was missing, and I had a panic attack. The bracelet was made by my mom's grandfather, and she wore it every day. It was a part of her. But when I told my wife, she told me that she sold it. I sobbed. I wasn't mad at her, just devastated. But soon after, the bracelet was back on the table, and I asked her about that. She started laughing and saying that you should have seen your face. She is not a good person. You will end up divorced. It is up to you how many years of this abuse you are willing to endure. Mindless face, 9244OP. My ex and I were driving home, and a raccoon ran out in the other lane way ahead of us. We did not even have to stop or slow down. My ex purposely switched lanes and sped up to hit and kill it. He is in prison now, years later, for a murder. Please notice the signs. If you're finding these stories interesting, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on new content. Update 24 days later, answering some concerns. Thank you for your comments and your time. I've had a long month, and there's a lot to say, but I honestly cannot stress enough how much your support and words, harsh or not, mean to me. I'll say what has been on my mind lately, but if anybody just came for this, here it is. I'm leaving my ex-wife Anna, but we are still living together as I pack my things. I'm not really scared of her anymore, so that's her name. I sat down and had a conversation with her. Everything I wrote down and posted here was copy and pasted from Google Docs. I left some details out since they were identifiable for both Anna and I. I showed it to her and she blew up at me. I understand why she was angry. I did share information about our marriage and life on the internet. Her emotions were reasonable, but I started to get very irritable. She listened to the word vomit that just spewed out. She didn't interrupt me or yell at me because I think she realized in that moment how badly it was all affecting me. I begged her to just hear me out, and surprisingly, she did. She admitted to me that she also recognized that she was changing and told her therapist about it. Do I believe her? Not really. She said that she's been scaring herself and that she's been having anger issues flaring up that she's noticed. And as some of you predicted, she didn't want to give sex up, so she cheated on me with some guy she met at her job. Honestly, by the time she explained herself, I didn't care. Because I don't. With everything that has happened, this was the least shocking. I asked Anna genuinely if she loved the man she met, and she said yes, which hurt, but also didn't seem like a surprise to me. I told Anna that if she didn't love me, I can divorce her, and we can figure out the separation and home situation. She agreed far too quickly, but I was so emotionally exhausted and done with her crap that it didn't register how little she valued the marriage to just toss it out like it was nothing. I just told her that for the next guy, she needs to get help. She agreed that she would check herself into the hospital. Some of you suggested a tumor, but that wasn't the case. Her explanation was that the other man got her into drugs. That's all I will say on that matter, because it's all she told me. At this point, I don't even care what the reason was because the impact was the same. Honestly, I'll forever kick myself down for not recognizing any warning signs sooner. It should have never gotten to the point that it did, and while it may not be my fault, I'm haunted every day by the thought that I could have been smarter and stopped her from doing everything that she did. When I say that she wasn't always like this, I mean it. She didn't give a specific date from when her affair started, so I can't pinpoint it to an exact event that happened. I miss the woman she used to be, the lovely girl I've known for almost 2 decades. I know this was something that had to be done, but no matter how many times I tell myself that, it doesn't make me feel any better. For those wanting to know, Butter is safe. He's a good boy, and he's staying with my sister while I pack up to leave. My wife never physically hurt him, but she has yelled at him a few times. It hurts not having him here all the time, since my sister's house is 30 minutes away. But he's safe, and I actually see him tonight. I also informed my family about this situation. I didn't want to, but I knew it was necessary. They understand and apologized for their brushing off of the situation. But to be fair, I downplayed it, so that could also be why they didn't see it as an issue. Her family knows we are splitting as well. As for me, I don't really have friends that are available that often, so I've spent most of my time alone in the house and thinking to myself, it was our house at one point. I remember when we first bought it and how excited she was. My best friend and I are going to eat out together, so that's something to look forward to. And she still admitted, I don't hear from her because they take your phone away at the hospital. I hope she can recover, but after everything that my therapist, family, best friend, and you guys have said, I can't bring myself to stay with her. Breaking it off felt like ripping my own arm off. I was devastated and still am. She seemed distraught as well, but I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't think she doesn't care about me. I think there's a part of her that still cares, but maybe I'm wishfully thinking. Even through everything, I can't be mad at her. But I know loving her isn't good for me. Is it wrong to forgive her? To see everything from her side? It hurts. It really does. I don't know anything but her. It feels like my life is over, even though it isn't. I don't want to date again, but I just want to connect with other people. It didn't click how isolated I was until I left, and I realize now that she is at fault for my lack of communication with anybody. If I had to conclude this jumbled mess of an update, it'd be this. I'm gonna be fine. It's only been like 2 weeks, but it's been the longest 2 weeks of my life. I realize that there are more people around that support and care about me. It honestly was really hard to accept that Anna was a disturbed individual who didn't love me. Sometimes I still convince myself that she does, but everybody around me states that she doesn't, and I'm coming to terms with this. It's progress. I've spent more than 16 years with this woman tormenting me, and I have a warped perception of reality. It truly is not easy to experience any of this. And honestly, sometimes I want to come back to her. But I know that maybe I can find the woman or man for me that will love me the way I need to. I'm working it out in therapy, and honestly, I'm still frightened of Anna. But I am thankful that she was the catalyst to a new chapter of my life. I learned a lot from this, mostly what love is and isn't. Thanks. You guys have good perspectives on things. I can't say that Reddit is what fixed my problems, but I can say that leaving was a result of the extra push you guys provided. I wish Anna the best, wherever the future takes her. While I'm sad that the future will not have me in it, I think this was the best for both of us, since she didn't seem to love me and I now fear her. This should be the end of my updates. I don't really see this updating further unless something happens with her. I want to be done with this, and I want to move on. Comments not Lily. Please do not look back after this. I think she'll come back claiming she's a better person and so on. Lady of the Seraphim, be prepared for her to come crawling back to you begging for another chance once she gets clean. Don't let her in because there is a pretty high chance she won't stay clean and she'll drag you down with her. Also be prepared that you're likely to get a call in a couple of years that she's OD'd.